This week, we're discussing Xbox's price increase for Game Pass. This is the Good Game, Bad Game podcast.
This is a song I wrote about the Good Game, Bad Game podcast. Good Game, Bad Game podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Good Game, Bad Game podcast. I'm your host, Spencer, and with me is a man who accidentally showed his wife Michael Mann's Miami Vice. It's my co-host, Mike. Mike, why would you do that?
There was a lot of alliteration there. So break it. What was it? Michael Mann's Miami Vice?
Yeah. So my assumption here is, as it normally should be, is that you were a good boy and stayed away from the internet for the most part.
If this is the marker for staying away from the internet, then yes, because I have no idea what you're talking about.
So a new Twitter main character popped up, and it was a woman who was making a big deal about a guy showing his partner. His partner wanted to know what his favorite movie was. He showed her, or them, I don't know. He showed his partner Michael Mann's Miami Vice, and this person responded to that very negatively. Not the partner, random person on the internet. And this was an ongoing discourse for too long, and I read too much of it. And I don't know why these things. I don't know why I got all of the information for this, but I know nothing about Hawk Tua.
I can tell you about Hawk Tua.
The meme,
You know,
or
Hawk Tua, I don't talk to her.
So anyway, it was a whole thing. It was crazy. Just,
So was it just people getting mad that this guy's favorite movie was Miami Vice?
yeah, it was basically like, what's her reaction was basically like, straight men need to be studied. What's their problem? Like, why do they like this movie, I guess? It was just one of those, like, oh, somebody's doing something. Let me be very vocal about why I hate them for this thing that they're doing. And like, for something I would say is like showing somebody a movie, for the most part, fairly harmless. You can have that be something dark and not and harmful, obviously, but two people taking part in enjoying one's favorite. Like, I'm just imagining if I would have posted that and I start rolling the intro to Shawshank Redemption, and I'm talking about how there's no going back as I show Shelby Shawshank Redemption for the first time, and somebody makes a big deal about it. It's just like, I don't know how this got to you, because I don't even know why I posted it in the first place. Shame on me, I guess.
Yeah.
Good.
Whatever. No comment.
Just good old, Bean Dad, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Shrimp Guy. It's just Twitter main characters come and go. It's a time.
But legends are forever.
But legends are forever. We'll see where this one gets cemented.
Well, Kotaku posted something 2 days ago that says, "Okay, I watched Miami Vice and it rules." So
yeah, it definitely had some staying power.
and not to make any assumptions here, but the author is Alyssa Mercanti.
Mm-hmm. Which, if you don't know, she's been the one mostly at war with the I don't even want to call it Gamergate 2, but she's been at the front lines of that battle, of effectively dealing with the trolls of that.
Is that like actually?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's been. I think she was. I think she was the one who broke the information about the whole like Sweet Baby Inc. detected thing.
Oh, I love some Sweet Baby Rays.
And like, I think she was the one who like was like the first to come out like against whatever you want to call the movement. That was basically just throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks and what they can get people riled up about. And
So there you go.
she's been dealing with a lot of hate, targeted hate. So yeah, for her to be the one to jump on some internet drama or discourse drama over a movie, it's not surprising. I've never seen the movie. I have no horse in the race, so
I've never seen it either. Not that I know of, at least.
I think it's Colin Farrell and Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like about as 2006 as it can get.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of.
Am I about to watch Miami Vice?
Yeah, probably. Right. I think the person who got upset about it did more good for Miami Vice than they ever should have.
Yeah.
So, what a time. Anyway, we're not here to talk about movies. We could, but we're here to talk about games. What where did your gaming adventures take you this past week?
Not very far.
Oh man, big dog.
I have I've discovered that Xbox cloud streaming works better if you use like the browser version and not the app.
Oh, interesting.
That's what I said. I said, "Oh, interesting." And as you and I were talking pre-recording, I have had near zero time to play video games. But I've been really messing around with cloud streaming because since I moved to where I live currently, it's been kind of dog shit. And I assumed it's just because, like, I live at the closest, like, 40 minutes to an hour to, like, a major metropolitan area. Whereas I used to live in one. So it hasn't really worked all that well. But I've been messing around with it, and my test game has been Pentiment, which I've kind of played on and off for the past 6 months. And it's been working really well, and I've been enjoying it. It's kind of like the perfect game to play with touch controls. So, like, I've kind of just been on this little mobile gaming kick.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said nice.
I'm like imagining like a dramatization of you going through these actions, and it's my voice playing through your mouth as you like are laying in bed playing on your phone, and it's just my voice coming out of your body going nice.
Nobody else is around.
Okay, well that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Have you been able to play anything else? I guess what's the release date? I'm sure you're on top of it for college football.
I don't know if it's the 17th or the 19th.
But I'm assuming that's gonna nuke the rest of the year for you.
Yep. Everything's gone.
Yeah.
The 19th. Yep. I did pre-order. I don't know if that means I get it early.
Did you how long did you consider getting the dual deluxe?
The two pack?
Yeah.
Not very long, honestly.
Fair.
Assuming that Madden's gonna come to Game Pass
right
in February. I figure that's like perfect timing.
I do have to be honest. For what it's worth, obviously, I play MLB, a sports game, so I'm being very candid about what I'm about to say. Sports games are not a great investment, in my opinion. Like it's a tough trap to get stuck in, and then be in that yearly paying $70 for a game that doesn't really increase the value a ton. But I will say that seeing them do that bundle of Madden, and if you're a football guy, seeing them do that bundle of both Madden and college football, both deluxe editions. So I'm assuming I guess I technically don't know what the deluxe edition comes out to on their own. But if I remember correctly, both games bundled together were like $130 for both deluxes, which is less than paying for each standard edition of each game solo. If I remember correctly, like I remembered seeing it and was like, that's actually a really good deal, and probably a really smart bundle on EA's part to just you would have to think that the two games potentially cannibalize each other. And maybe this is a way to convince somebody who otherwise would have only gotten college football, assuming that's the more tantalizing one, to buy into both. So really smart move, all in all.
Yeah, I would say as long as you play Ultimate Team, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean that's really all you get from the deluxe edition is
which I don't. So
and maybe you get I know for MLB, for example, you do get 3 days early access, 4 days early access if you get the deluxe. So maybe you do well with that.
I really don't know. Maybe. See, for me, it doesn't make sense because I don't really do Ultimate Team.
Sure.
And it's really nice because with Game Pass, I technically get EA Play, so I paid like $61 for NCAA instead of 70 because you get like a discount on pre-orders.
Yep.
So
that's nice.
it'll be an interesting loop. I kind of wish I got the physical game. That way, like next year, if they do another NCAA game, I can just trade it in, whatever, get my $3 for it, and not have it sitting on a shelf.
Sure.
But I'm hoping with any luck, this will also come to Game Pass, and this will be the only one I buy, and then I'll be able to milk it long enough for the next year if they do it to come to Game Pass or something. I don't know.
Right, because assuming that like not a ton changes year over year, like you're saying, you can kind of milk the one that you have until the other becomes free, and then milk that until the next one's free, and so on and so forth. And
here's, I think, the other thing. I don't know that like how tempted I will be to get another year of NCAA, and I'm sure this is why they haven't made a game in forever. Because like, what are you paying for year over year? It's not like you get updated rosters like you do in Madden, right?
Well, I mean,
you might get
you will now, right?
Yeah, but
technically,
I don't think that really matters to me.
Completely fair. I hear you. Because like you say, like when you play Madden, right? You get 5 seasons into a franchise if that's what you play, and next thing you know, it's like there's barely any current day players left anyway.
Right, and that's why I think I've been able to. I mean, I haven't paid for a Madden game in forever.
Yeah,
I've just been waiting for him to come out on Game Pass.
That's completely fair. Yeah, I mean, I think I would be able to milk, MLB The Show 14 still if I didn't play Diamond Dynasty.
Yeah.
I also say that, and I just love the updated rosters. So I would be the person who pays year over year just for updated rosters.
Yeah,
I'm a real
I get
sucker.
that.
But yeah, it's a shame because you would hope with like sports games they would do better quality of life updates to the like franchise modes and stuff like that, but they really don't put any more emphasis on that because obviously the moneymaker is the Ultimate Team card collecting game mode, whatever it is, which sucks. Sucks that you can't be a casual gamer anymore. Well, that's exciting. I'm excited to hear about all of your college football endeavors.
Yeah, taking Syracuse to the top.
Go Orange.
Orange.
Is that what they say?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
That and oh my god, throw the fucking ball. But
well, you should be able to change that. So
yeah. Well, we got Kyle McCord. And next year it'll be some generic name.
Whitey Magoo.
Yeah, it's probably close.
That's great. I was back and forth on if I was gonna get it, and ultimately I think I'm just gonna hold off and just wait for this one to be on like a super sale because I'm assuming it won't come to PlayStation Plus, and then I'm probably just gonna milk it, much like we're talking about with using past Maddens and stuff like that. So, um, I wish I could say that I really was playing much of anything, but per usual, mostly been playing MLB. Um, the only other thing is this game called Dismantle, which is like it's in the like vein of like Minecraft in many ways, where the environment is breakable, um, and for the most part you can break like everything, but you just need to have like the tool strength to do it. And it's a lot of fun. It's very very chill. Uh, it's one of the games leaving PlayStation Plus, and it has like a PS4 and PS5 version. So I'd played the PS5 version, and Shelby and I have been going through and playing the PS4 version, and we just finished the like core game, the like main objective of the game, um, yesterday, 2 days ago, and now it's just a matter of like cleaning up the map and going and doing every single like minor point of interest. But it's very fun, very chill, relaxing game. Would recommend to anybody who enjoys games. Again, it's like it's similar to Minecraft, not exactly the same, but in that vein. And I played a little more Sifu, and I'm terrible at that game. So that's been a cold dose of reality that I didn't want. Just god awful. Just terrible.
I'm sorry, which game is it?
Sifu?
Say it's awful.
No, I'm awful.
Oh. That makes
I
me feel better.
I'm terrible. Like uh so yeah, so I really need to get good, as they say.
You're good.
Yeah. Um that's it. I'm hoping to put more time into that. And actually get good. But we'll see. My attention will get drawn 13 other directions.
Sure. As it does.
All right. Well, big news dropped yesterday as of recording, which is that Microsoft is increasing and changing some of the pricing for and tiers for the Xbox Game Pass model. So thought we could break it down, kind of go over what some of the changes are and kind of what it means and maybe why they're doing this and all that. Sound good?
Sure.
So you obviously are in the Xbox ecosystem. So
I am.
you have a better knowledge of where the like pricing is at. So correct me if I'm wrong at any point. There's Game
Can I back
Pass,
up for a second?
please.
No, I let them just murder my wallet. I don't even think about it. I don't know how much shit is anymore. I just know it's all expensive.
Okay. Then we're gonna do this exercise together. So there's Xbox Game Pass Core, which is effectively what Xbox Live Gold was, right? Which is just your access to playing online games. Do they have like a small library of like titles for that tier? Do you know?
I can find out.
That is $10 a month. For a year, though, you can pay up front and get it for $60. So $10 a month comes out to $120 if you want to do quick math over
I
the
feel
course of a
like it's
year.
gotta. I feel like it's gotta come with something, right?
I just don't remember if they still give like the monthly games like they used to. I thought they got rid of that.
No, they did.
So I just didn't know what the additional benefit was outside of
Hmm.
just like it allows you to play online.
It yeah, no, there is like a selection of games. I think it's like 25. It looks like on Xbox's site as I wait for it to load because we all have to fucking have an orgy over JavaScript to make our websites look fancy instead of just letting them fucking load.
How you doing, buddy?
It's just not fucking great, dude. Yeah, you get some games.
Okay, so it's like a curated list.
Yeah, it looks like it's a lot of like I'm assuming this is the list for core. Like you get a lot of the first party games, so like Fallout, Halo, Gears,
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I do
and
remember
then some
that.
other one. Yeah.
Okay. Um so there's that tier. Which again is $10 a month, but you can pay for a full year at $60. And I believe that's the only instance, again, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the only instance of a Game Pass subscription tier where you can do a discounted price for like a bundled amount of time.
That is correct.
Every other tier is just a monthly fee.
Yep.
Okay. So then there's just regular Game Pass, like just for the console, which is I believe $11 a month.
And that one was 10 or 9.99, I think, before the last.
Price increase.
Yeah.
Yep. Then there's PC Game Pass, which is $10 a month. And then there's Game Pass Ultimate, which is currently $17 a month.
Yeah. It's currently 17.
And that includes PC Game Pass. EA Play is included in that.
Yeah.
Any other like subscription type, like is Ubisoft Play, GTA Plus, any of that included in Game Pass Ultimate? Do you know?
They added some degree of Ubisoft, but it's not the full subscription.
Yeah. Okay. I think PlayStation Plus
Like
did
it's
something
I think it's
with that too.
basically just like Assassin's Creed Plus.
Okay. Okay. You're saying that's what Ubisoft Plus is, or that's what the effective
That's
contribution to Game Pass is?
basically what the contribution
Okay.
to Game Pass
Okay,
is.
that makes sense. Um, Okay, so I think that's all the tiers that exist. So you've got I think it's called Game Pass Core, which is basically the internet and or online play and curated list. Then there's just Game Pass. I don't know what that was called. Standard, uh, which is just for console. PC Game Pass, which is just for PC, and then Game Pass Ultimate, which includes both of those, plus a few other bonuses, right? So the changes that are coming are basically price increases. So Game Pass Ultimate is going up to $20 a month. PC Game Pass is going to $12 a month. That Game Pass standard, whatever you want to call that, is being sunset and will no longer be available for purchase. But current subscribers will be able to maintain that subscription and at that price, if I'm understanding correctly. But that
Wait, so base is going away?
they're getting rid of that option and they're creating Game Pass Standard, maybe is the new one.
Okay, and that's the one that doesn't have day one.
That'll be $15 a month, and yes, that's for new subscribers, and will not include, which that was the big point, will not include day one titles. Hopefully that covered like the big like changes. But I think, like I said, I think Tom Warren had like a nice tweet that breaks down where they're at. So let me see if I can find it. So this is from him. Okay. This is from July 9th, 7 p.m. my time at least. Xbox Game Pass Core is $10. $10 a month. That's the one though that allows you to bundle for a full year. Actually, though, I do think that also increased. So if you pay for it all for upfront for the full year upfront, I think it's now $70 to $75 a year, but the monthly price maintains the same. So if you're paying, like, it still makes sense to pay for like a discounted amount for the full year. PC Game Pass is $12, does include day one games. Xbox Game Pass for console, I guess, is just like the current like standard subscription. For existing subs is $11 a month and has day one games still. Xbox Game Pass Standard, which is for new subs only, is $15 a month, no day one games. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, $20 a month, does include day one games. In typical Xbox form, fairly confusing with the naming and keeping up with the tiers and everything like that. And it, does get a little confusing and messy. Because you're getting rid of that day one tagline, which has been, probably the biggest benefit to Game Pass.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like now they can't like, and I think in hindsight, it feels like they've tuned it down in the past couple events, but that was like it used to be before every game announcement at one of these one of their events was like day one on Game Pass, day one on Game Pass, and then it's kind of cycled to like Phil Spencer at the beginning saying like everything you see today is going to be day one on Game Pass. Like now I feel like you can't say that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now you're going to have to say will be available day one for Game Pass Ultimate subscribers.
Yeah.
It's fairly clear I'd say, that they want to drive people to Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah, and it's
Sorry, go ahead.
no, it's really the only one that makes sense, and it's the platform that sorry, it's not the only one that makes sense. It's the one that has basically stayed the truest to Game Pass since day one,
Yes.
with minimal change both in price and in services.
Yeah, and I mean, just up front, I don't think, I personally, I should say, don't think that the jump to $20 a month um, suddenly makes Game Pass not worth it. I do still see a lot of value in these types of services, this subscription service that allows you to have like an entire library of games to play. I just got hung up on this idea of Game Pass Standard because I liked that they had the Game Pass for console and then PC and then Ultimate all kind of like separate, so that for whatever reason, if you didn't want, if you don't have a need for PC Game Pass, and you don't care about like the benefit of EA Play, you don't need to buy in for that extra amount. So I just don't really understand adding this $15 tier that loses the main benefit of day one games. Like I just don't understand like what the drive there is. Giving people that option of like not paying $5 a month for effect, like you could literally just think of it as like $15 gives me all the benefits of Game Pass Ultimate except no EA Play and no PC Game Pass. Am I okay with just not shelling out the $5 additional dollars each month for that? Yes, great. And that's, I think, where I just like kind of like lose understanding of like what the thought process is for that tier specifically.
Yeah, it's for me, I'm kind of getting to the point where I need to contemplate like where I stand with Game Pass. Um, I mostly pay for Ultimate because I like being able to have cloud gaming.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really use PC Game Pass at all. I just don't have a PC that can run it. And I started playing around with GeForce Now, and like that's kind of cool how they integrate together, but there's still some kinks. But you know, I don't know, I don't really know what my sweet spot is. I don't think I really need day one releases. So like I don't think that affects me.
Sure.
As long as they eventually come to the platform, like I would rather pay like $10, not have day one releases, but have cloud gaming.
Yeah, it would almost be cool if they if they did a like a menu type thing, right? Where
Right.
you
Do it
kind of
all a
pick
la carte.
yeah, you kind of pick and choose what channels you want, right? And then, the more you bundle together, the quote unquote better deal you get.
Mm-hmm.
Um than if you would do like just one of the features, right? Um
Here's my tinfoil hat.
yes.
Based off of this coming out and then like earlier in the week or late last week or whatever, there was a rumor that GeForce Now is coming to Xbox. Like it's an app you can install on your Xbox. And I have a feeling this is going to be the last price hike before they get rid of Xbox Cloud Gaming.
Interesting.
Because this is what, the second time they've raised prices this year?
I think so. Like within the calendar year or
Within the calendar year, yeah.
yeah, I think
Or
so.
no, like since, I don't know, I think it was like September or October last year.
Yeah,
that
calendar
they
year
raised
is what I
prices.
meant. You're saying within the past 12 months, they've raised it twice.
Within the past 12 months,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So I don't know. I think what they're going to do is if this price increase doesn't work, I think they'll just get rid of cloud gaming because I'm sure they're not making any money off of that at all. And then Ultimate is going to be you get basically everything you get now without cloud gaming. But then you can use like GeForce Now to play PC games on the cloud. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you.
I kind of have a feeling that's what's going to happen, unfortunately.
It's a little funky. But I get it, right? Like I still think $20 a month, there's a ton of value there.
Yeah,
I was trying to
that's.
do sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's basically like for me, if you don't, you know, we buy Nintendo games, of course, but you can't like get those anywhere else. But
Mm-hmm.
that's really my only gaming expense.
Mm-hmm.
Got the
So
console when it came out, and then $20 a month since.
right. So that's $240 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how we've always broken down, the value of Game Pass, right? $240 a year now with $70 games,
Right.
is 3.5 games, and that doesn't, take into account that like that's if you play 3.5 big AAA releases that are offered on Game Pass. I mean, just, with the benefit of day one releases alone, there were years where you were hitting it on just like Xbox exclusives and cashing in on the the benefit of those day one releases. Um, I guess my one question is like, does day one releases is that benefit specifically talking about Xbox games? The new Gears, right? Like that'll be day one on Game Pass Ultimate. Um, but like, what's a game that's not under Xbox's umbrella that has been announced that it's going to be on Game Pass day one?
Mm.
I can't think of one off the top of my head. But like, will that
Right.
is that also a quote unquote day one, or will that be included at the
imagine.
standard level day one? You know what I mean?
I'm assuming that will be considered like a day one, so you would lose those too.
So then the other question is, how soon do they then trickle into the standard? Because at some point, right, they should still end up there. So that'll be another question to answer. But regardless, 3.5 games for $240 a year, or if they're at the $60 price point, it's 4 games, right? Um, you know, I I would say for a good majority of like just even fairly casual gamers, that's probably a really solid deal and just, like good econ, as they say. But anybody who plays just one game, I get it. Like maybe Game Pass isn't for you, and that's totally fine. If you want to pay
Right.
the $70 for Call of Duty, and then you can play that until the next Call of Duty comes out with very little other gaming expenses, then yeah, it's totally not for you. I was thinking about that uh, you know, with the inability to now, and this is where I think these changes and like why they're potentially coming in how they are. You can't be a anymore. You can't pay. I don't have an Xbox Game Pass subscription. All right. So using me as the case study, if I am an avid Call of Duty fan, which I'm not, but if I were, I could go out and buy a Series X and pay $11 a month, which comes out to $132 a year, and I would have been able to play Call of Duty day one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can't do that. And I can't do it at the $15 price point either. Now, I would have to pay the $20 price point, which again comes out to $240 a year. That's tricky, right? Because if somebody mostly only plays Call of Duty, that 132 in an entire year could still be worth it. And to your point that you were talking about earlier about college football, it's like you buy the game physically, you would just trade it in for the next one. This kind of takes that out of it, right? Like you don't even have to worry about it. It's just kind of included. It's automatic at that point when it's included in a service like this year over year. But I find that to be really interesting. And I kind of think that's where I can kind of point my finger as like, that might be the like clear cut, not necessarily main reason, but like there could be a lot of reason behind this change. And the effect could be, it could be a bit of a Call of Duty effect in some ways.
Yeah, I guess the sales pitch at that point becomes like, are you only going to play Call of Duty for the entire year, or like, will you play Call of Duty and one more game?
And again, at the $11 value, if you are going to play at least one other game, super worth it, right?
And see, like that makes a lot of sense because after you install Call of Duty, you'll be lucky if you'll be able to have one more game on your Xbox.
Right. But again, I see it as like if you're an avid Call of Duty player, you're probably not playing $170 worth of other games, which is the $70 for Call of Duty plus the ones, and then the difference of the $240 for Ultimate. But if you're an avid Call of Duty player, you might play $60 worth of other games, which would have been at the $11 value. And so anybody who's a legacy customer at that $11 value, you have what I would say is probably, it's tough because Ultimate is still really good value, but that $11 one, that is great. If I would have gotten an Xbox, that's the tier of Game Pass that I would have subscribed to. I now would probably still go for the $15 route, but also it's tough because if I'm getting an Xbox, if I'm going to play anything, it's going to be Xbox exclusive. So having the benefit of day one might be more worth it. So then it comes down to what does that timeline look like for those games to eventually come to the standard. It's just interesting.
Yeah. It is. I would just like to see what the cap is. I mean, I would imagine they'd have to stick at $20 for at least a couple of years for Ultimate.
Yeah. If you had to try and think about it right now, what is the most you would pay for Ultimate? When is it like no longer, air quotes, worth it, would you say?
For me personally,
Yeah. Like if you had to try and pinpoint a number, because obviously this is going to be different for everybody. I completely understand that. But if you had to try and like come up with a number, when is it no longer, would you say, worth it?
I got to do the math and see how much I'm paying right now. We said what, probably like 240. Yeah.
It's with the new increase, it'll now be $240 a month. Yeah. Or
I mean,
oh my God, $240 a year. $240
yeah.
a month would be fucking robbery.
I mean, $240 a year is honestly that's kind of insane.
It's a lot of money
for me. I don't know that I honestly don't know that I play that many games in a year. Like I mean I could also afford that for the most part. I don't really know if that's affordable to a lot of people. I don't know. What would you have to pay to get it to $300 a year? Because you think about subscriptions you pay annually for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember when Microsoft 365 first became a thing, and everyone's like, "Oh, I'm not paying $70 a year for Office." Okay, well, that's uh, a fraction of this price.
Mm-hmm. So to answer your initial question, $25 a month would be $300.
Yeah, I think that's like,
Probably the limit.
yeah, I think $20 is like the sentimental upper limit.
Mm-hmm.
I think $25 you lose subscribers.
Mm-hmm. And probably aren't making enough back. Like you, that's probably where you tip past the point of return.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
$20.
don't know. I think
$20.
you're going to see a ton of pushback as soon as it hits $20.01.
Mm-hmm.
But I think $25 is the absolute upper limit.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. $20 is already a tough sell. In a lot of ways. I mean, that's $20 a
But it
month is a
really
lot.
isn't. That's the internal dissonance I have. You
Yeah.
know.
Sorry, I'm now talking about like the general, like public.
Right.
I think
Right.
$20 is a tough price point to sell people at. Especially when you had like affordable, or you had a more affordable option that still gave key benefits.
Right.
Now you don't like. So the way I look at it is that standard tier, right? That $15 a month is the same as uh PlayStation Plus Extra, right? Which is, you've got like PlayStation Plus Essential, which is the one that gives you 3 free games a month and multiplayer access, right? Then you have um Extra, which is the like Game Pass, like the effectively Game Pass equivalent for PlayStation. It's a library of games that you can play. Doesn't give you day one, um, but it's like a library of games that you have access to play. And then you have PS Plus Premium, which the only added benefit there is that you have access to cloud and or streaming and classics, PS1, PS2, PSP, and PS3 games that you don't get access to at the extra tier. So PS Plus Extra is $15 a month. The exact same benefit as that Xbox Game Pass standard. I will say the only other benefit that PlayStation has still, and we'll see if they get rid of it, but you can buy like a full year at a time. And they regularly run deals
Right.
on like the pricing there. I don't know, does Xbox have like deals on a monthly subscription
You
cost?
can like they sometimes come up on like Best Buy.
Okay.
Like that's what I've done in the past. Like pretty much every time I see it on Best Buy, I buy as many months as I can, but it's usually capped at like 3 months.
Well, and the other thing, sorry, my dog has a squeaker toy, so I don't know if that's coming through. The other
Oh,
thing is that you can only you could stack. I think for Game Pass you could stack like 36 months. It used to be. Now it's capped at 13. So you like lose that ability to like capitalize on deals and stuff like you're saying, like where Best Buy allows you to buy like 3 at a time or something like that, right? And you can do it every
hmm
time they pop up. Anytime that deal pops up, you can do it to stockpile. Um, you can now only have up to 13 months for Game
yeah.
Pass.
Which I mean, like, I guess you could. So, like, let's say Amazon runs a deal on codes. Like, you could technically buy as many 1 month codes as you want, right? Then you would just have to remember to apply them. You know,
Sure. Yeah. As long as I'm assuming those codes don't expire.
I mean, but there's probably some extreme like upper limit, but
Yeah.
not saying that like that's the way it should be, but
I'll
man, that's that's just that's I think inconsiderate. But whatever.
yeah, like again, yeah, sure. Is there a workaround? It's just more difficult than it was to have
Hmm.
stockpiled months. So, I mean, that's another thing. Like, so PlayStation allows you to buy a full year at a time. They're fairly regular. Oh my God, regularly running deals. Like normally they will do one at like for the summer and like probably one around Black Friday. They might do other ones in between where they slash the price of PlayStation Plus. It's not that frequently anymore. It used to be like every big sale they would do it. And they allow you to stack. I mean, if I wanted to, I could go buy 10 years of PlayStation Plus Premium, and it would just be stocked up on my account. So yeah, so that standard price point for Game Pass that they're now adding in for new subscribers, in a lot of ways, is like kind of like shooting themselves in the foot and bringing them down to PlayStation's level in terms of like the subscription.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, just the entire move by Xbox to do this, I find it interesting. I'm certainly not upset about price increases. Like, it's just the name of the game. Like, prices go up. So Game Pass was a ridiculous value for how long when Ultimate was like, wasn't Ultimate, didn't Ultimate used to be like $12, or was it always at like 15 and then steadily increased? Because I could have sworn I remembered it being like ridiculously worth it. I mean, even at
Maybe
$15 it was ridiculously worth it.
right. Maybe way back when. I know when I started paying for it, it was already at 15.
Okay. I
When I
mean,
first got
regardless.
Game Pass, I was just paying for console, so it was $10.
Okay. So I mean, regardless, like $10 a month for just the console Game Pass is ridiculous value.
Yeah.
To increase that to 12, which is what it's staying at technically, right, is still incredible value. But to see the value of what Game Pass gives you, to see that jump to $15, now you no longer get day one games, but $15 is still, I would say, worth it to have access to an entire library of games. Again, for even somebody who plays many different games, this is like definitely for those people, and is definitely worth it. And yeah, to see the price go up a little bit is not insane, and like in my eyes at least not really the end of the world, but we are seeing it kind of hit, like you said, an upper limit in a lot of ways. Like you're going to hit a point where people are no longer going to be willing to pay for uh or pay that amount that you're asking. It'll just be interesting to see how much they try to push that, if at all anymore, or hopefully they stay at this price point and maintain it, because I do still think at this point it is still providing good value.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I would do more than $20 a month. I think that's when I would have to really stop and think about it, and potentially just, could I reasonably get, because I'm going to play MLB, but could I reasonably get enough other games on like sales and stuff like that where I come in under $240? The answer is probably. Like, I definitely exploit, the game library that comes with PlayStation Plus Premium, and I try to play as many games and even create dumb challenges for myself to do so. But yeah, I think like $20, if they made an increase to that, it would start to teeter on the edge for me.
Yeah, I mean it's getting to the point, and it's just so funny because again, in the grand scheme of things, like it's still worth it. But I think it's starting to play into the subscription exhaustion. Like I'm going to start doing with Game Pass what I do with every other subscription that I have, in that I'm going to say, okay, this game is out. I'm going to pay the $20 this month, and I better beat that game this month because I'm not paying for it next month, you know?
Yeah,
And then I'm just going to start.
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know. I'm just going to start paying for it on months that I know. Like, for example, like June of this year, absolutely no reason for me to have Game Pass. Wasn't home enough to play it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, probably the next 2 months it's going to be that way, and then like come October, November, okay, I'll start paying for it again.
Yeah, and that's completely valid. And I mean, my assumption is that like you maintain your save data, right?
Yeah,
So
I
like
mean
if
that just
you
gets saved to your Xbox account.
yeah, so like if you obviously games can come and go, but if you get Game Pass because of Forza and you're like I'm gonna keep Game Pass for as long as I'm playing Forza, um, and then say you stop because you're busy and stuff like that and don't pay for 3-4 straight months, you can come back in November and pick up from where you were at with Forza.
Right.
So yeah,
I
so
mean, hell, you can
I hear
keep
you.
you can even keep the games on your console.
Right, they're just locked.
Yeah.
No, I hear you, and I wonder how many people will do that with just this price increase.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I'm really curious because I haven't seen it anywhere. Maybe I wasn't looking hard enough. I'm really curious what the schedule and what the like the staggered releases for games that come to Ultimate Day 1. When do those games hit the standard tier? Because I think that also will play a bit into my opinion of that tier. But as of right now, I don't love that is the only thing about all of this that I'm even I'll say mildly upset about is that standard tier that doesn't include day 1 and is still an increase to what the Game Pass console price point was. But if it's a month, 3 months, 6 months, I don't hate that. In terms of like the new Gears game coming out and then hitting the standard tier.
Yeah.
If it's
Yeah, I
if
feel
it's
like
a
it's got to be a month
if it's
to
a
start at least.
yeah. I mean if it's a full year, then I'm like, any more than a full year, it that I don't know what the value in that tier is.
Yeah.
Even a
I
year
I
is not valued to me.
I think it's going to be like a month.
And if that's the case, save your $60 on the year,
Right.
and you're still playing them within the calendar year and everything, and again, still really solid value there in my eyes. But yeah, that's my only hang up in all of this is what does that look like? So I'm really curious to find out. But I get it. I think the increases and stuff. It's like one of those things where it's like it unfortunately makes sense. Just
Right.
with where things are at. But a lot of people have a lot of strong opinions about it. Anything else you want to say in regards to it?
Nope.
All right. Well then, dear listener, let us know your thoughts. If you have any, I guess especially if you are currently a Game Pass subscriber, let us know how this changes things for you, if at all. And if you're not a current Game Pass subscriber, but we're thinking about it, does this price point and change to the tiers price you out of Game Pass and doing the subscription service? Let us know. You can let us know over on our YouTube channel in the comment section there. As always, thank you all so much for listening. If you could leave us a rating or review wherever you do listen to the podcast, it would be greatly appreciated. And most importantly, if you could just share the podcast with a friend or dear loved one, that would also be appreciated and would really help us out. Other than that, we'll talk to you next week.